Hello and welcome to the Time Freedom Summit for dentists and dental professionals. I'm your host, Nomita Mehta, and we are learning from extraordinary coaches, consultants, and dentists how to create a business that gives us time and financial freedom. So today we're going to turn the tables just for a moment, and we're going to have Miss Duffy from the Dental Entrepreneur and the DEW Life magazine interview me, the host of the Time Freedom Summit. I thought it would be really helpful to get my perspective and get an idea of where I'm coming from, introduce myself, and so Anne has been very kind to be the host and take over for this interview. So Anne is she's such a veteran in our industry, and she is herself passionate about bringing balance, in the lives of dentists and dental professionals. And then I just came to know that she has launched DEW Life magazine just last Tuesday. Congratulations, Anne, on that one.
Thank you. Thank you. We're excited.
Very good. So, Anne, the mic is all yours.
Well, thank you, Nomita. It's fun to turn the tables around a little bit today. I'm very excited to introduce you to all the people that are watching. You have the brainchild here of the Time Freedom Summit. And so I'd like to tell everybody a little bit about you. Nomita Mehta is a mom, a wife, a dentist, an entrepreneur, and a friend to many. She came to the U.S. after completing her MDS in prosthodontics from India in 1996. Here she received hands-on training as a fellow in implant prosthodontics from the University of Texas, San Antonio. Loving the dentistry here, coupled with the joy of living in another country, she completed the AEGD residency from the University of Rochester Eastman Dental Center in New York. Ever since, Dr. Mehta has been practicing dentistry in different settings. Miles of Smiles, a school-based dental program, community dental clinics, the Willamette Dental, a corporate dental practice, private practice, and finally starting and running her own dental practice from scratch, which she sold 4 years back. And as you know, that's near and dear to my heart. She has been in the dental field now for 22 years and is very grateful for it. Since then, Nomita has just taken on this quest of finding answers, which are often difficult to find those straightforward answers. One being, what constitutes a balanced, fulfilling life for the professional? And she is on a mission, as you'll notice, to find a comprehensive solution. And today, we're going to have a topic that she came up with that I think is wonderful, and it's called Changing the Status Quo. So let's dive in. I've got a couple questions for you.
Thank you, Anne.
Welcome. Well, first of all, tell us about your background. Where are you from? How did your role in dentistry and in your family?
Yeah. So briefly, I am from Mumbai, India. It's the New York City of India. And after doing my master's there, came here, enjoyed 3 years of dentistry, and then, right at the end of my third year is when I met my husband. It was an arranged marriage, and we got married in Rochester, New York. And then, it's been a typical ride, the first job, moving, about 2 times for our jobs. And then the kids came, and then there was this itch that I've got to start my own practice. So with 2 young kids, below the age of 10, I jumped into that, loved every bit loved every bit of it. But I have to say it was difficult, and I'm not going to lie, it was very difficult at times. Uh, Probably the hardest part was, finding balance on all aspects of life. When something was perfect, when the office was running smoothly, I knew there was a neglect at home on some end. And so that, it was putting all those pieces in balance was difficult. I did go through, I mean, I have to say I was on the point of, a little breakdown for sure. And then, it's like a negative spiral. So, things just kind of felt like everything was just not going right. And luckily for me, with great help from my family, I have very good mentors here, dentists in the community. I made the decision to sell my practice. And since then, I have finally stepped out, so to say, stepped off that treadmill, and I can see the world with a different eye. And I really feel, I've learned quite a bit in this journey since, 4 years, and I want to share that with, my colleagues that are probably still on that treadmill.
Oh, I think it's wonderful because everybody wants balance. We have to have that. And I just think it's so great to bring all these, experts together to share how they did it. Mm-hmm. So obviously you've done it. Look at you now. Let me ask you, how did you come up with the theme of the Time Freedom Summit?
Yes. Probably two things. First was that I met about 25 dentists in the last 4 years, one-on-one, and really interrogated them. And I was like, what are your main pain points? And you won't believe, and the first 3 pain points, came down to time. It boiled down to, gosh, we want to do this. Nomita, I want to, take more courses. I know I want to get more team training done, but I just don't have the time. Or, at home, I want to spend more time with the kids. I want to exercise more. I want to cook better. I just don't find the time. So that was obvious, and I had experienced the same thing. So I said, let me just take that topic of time and let's nail it. Let's find out how we can make the most, in the 24 hours we all have.
Okay, so that's how you came up with changing the status quo. So what do you mean by changing the status quo?
That's a good question, and so as you will see, I'm more of a big picture person, and so this is a bold statement, but what I mean is that typically in our dental field, dentists and dental professionals, we all believe that, you just practice dentistry, it has its ups and downs, and, you just kind of go through those. And the only light at the end of the tunnel is when you retire, or when you sell your practice. And that can seem like a long ways. And very frankly, that entire journey is pretty difficult, quite often. Some dentists are lucky, but I have to say, as a woman, mom, wife, and all the roles, it does get pretty daunting. And then, women step off for a while, or they go extremely part-time, even though they have that passion for dentistry. They probably have lots of school loans. So, it's a battle that they are fighting. And I totally get it. It's obvious. So what I mean by changing the status quo is that kind of status quo. I want to shed light to some really good changes that are happening in the world around us, and a lot of other professions have already gotten on that bandwagon, and I want us dentists and our dental profession to really get on that, because is a good formula for a comprehensive, balanced life.
Yes, and it's time. The time is now. I mean, there's no sense waiting until our life's over and we look back and we said, well, that wasn't very much fun and it's over. Let's enjoy it, right? I love that. So let me ask you this now. I've got another question here. What is your take on the changing landscape in dentistry?
Yeah. So, and again, you're very familiar that so many changes. I mean, you know, right from our patients, they're much more aware of dentistry. The way they find us is changing. We know the millennial generation, their entire way of thinking is different. Then we've got our staff, and their requirements and their outlook again is not like before. They have other requirements, and they're much more open to moving if they are not satisfied. So we've got that aspect. Then we of course have the entire insurance industry that is absolutely changing, typically not for the better. So we've got that we are battling. And then and finally, really the competition, just the corporate dental clinics that are opening up. In general, there is government regulations. I mean, so it feels like we are just being closed in, and that to me is really what I mean by the changing landscape. Sometimes it looks bleak, but I want to tell you, we can approach it differently, and that's what I want to share.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, okay, so I know your passion is balance. So how does one have it all? I mean, how does that even, it seems almost too good to be true.
Yes, and 4 years back, I would have said the same thing. Are you kidding me? But luckily, these 4 years, I have utilized them in learning so much, thinking, visualizing my own self, and what I was going through. So I really want to share. Here's that in a nutshell. That how we can have it all. There are basically 12 areas of our life, that need to come in balance. And really the biggies we all know are, your work, you've got the financial part, little different from just working, but your financial, you've got your parenting aspect, your friends and family, all, they're not very different. This clock reminds me of that. It is, I just have to pick it up. So the point is that the way to reach that is, let's put it, it's 3 steps. First is figuring out your own life vision, your own goals, but the big picture goals, not little goals and not your to-do list, but the big picture goals. And those goals will vary from person to person. They're going to vary from your season of life, so they're not in stone, but you certainly can have 3 to 5 year vision, or maybe a 10-year vision, depending on, again, what your own situation is. So first is getting absolute clarity on that, and there are ways to zoom into that, but it's very important to take that time and come up with that clarity. Number 2 is to truly have time. I've realized that you've got to put your office on some form of autopilot, where it is functioning at full capacity and doing a wonderful job for our patients, but where you don't have to be there every minute. You could be out of the office and still it's running smoothly. And so for that, it means really the office is running on systems, excellent systems and teams. And a lot of our interviews in this upcoming next few days are going to help you and share and give you clarity on and all the tools and strategies and skills that one can learn, so you can start to put your practice on some form of autopilot where you can totally be out of it for anywhere from one day to all the days, depending on what you want. So that's number two. And then the number three is, the question is, well, what about the income, Nomita? And so number three is, we can start to create a passive income, and when I say a passive, I mean, this is the way, create a passive online form of income. It is very new, this idea in our profession, and but this is what I have been focusing on. And it's amazing. You find what you are really good at, and you can turn that into a product or a course, and share it with the entire world. And you're generating an income, creating an impact, helping people, but you're also living a balanced life.
I love that. I love that. So in the next 11 days or so, what are some of the topics that your experts are going to be speaking on?
Yeah. So, and out of the three things I explained, really, it's that middle bit of how to, make your office run so smoothly, so efficiently, so productively, whether you're there or you're not there. I mean that. So the experts are going to share different strategies on leadership skills, on the tools and methods that you can implement in your office, as well as how to empower your teams. So it really is those three aspects which all help you to be able to step out and get some time for yourself to make a real change.
Now, do you think this is going to be for just the dentist out there, or is it for the whole team? Who do you think your viewers are?
Yes, so that's a good question. I had to think about that because I'm obviously talking as a dentist, and I probably am coming across that this applies to dentists, but this is it's that whole psychology. If the dentist is aligned with this thinking, then he can empower the staff also to live that their passionate life. So, and it's amazing how it can everybody can have this time freedom, because there are so many things that can be outsourced, that can be delegated, so everything doesn't have to happen by each person, and thereby the office can find their time freedom, which works for everyone, not just the dentist. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a balanced office is a happy office, and really you want everyone to want to come to work and look forward to it, and I think that's when we do our best dentistry and our best patient care. This has been so great. I'm excited about the summit. I can't wait. Well, I want to ask you, do you have anything in the works coming up after the summit, or do you want to talk about that later on? I didn't know if that was something that you have thought about, or we're just going to get through the summit and then we'll think.
I really think that's and I'm a one step at a time person, but lots of opportunities and lots of ideas are in my head. I just have to get them out.
Well, you're pulling this off, because I saw the experts on your panel, and they are the best of the best out there. So you did a great job reaching out to everybody, and I know that they're excited to have been interviewed by you. I know that you've asked all of us that we were, what kind of a gift that we wanted to give, and do you have a gift for the audience today?
Yes. So, what I'd like to do is offer a 30-minute, what I call a time freedom breakthrough planning session. And so I mean that I want to offer this time so that we can strategize on what is it that's preventing you from having this time freedom. what aspect of balance needs, or what aspect of your life balance probably needs more help. And I just want that, so that at the end of that call you are able to reconnect with your dreams, and you can kind of see that yes, I can truly live that, and we have like a roadmap for that. So I'd like to offer that strategy call and take this one step further and make it real.
Oh, that's excellent. I hope that somebody I know wins it. Maybe it'll be me. I don't know. But the one last question, I thought it was such a great question that you asked all of us, is what is your secret to creating time for yourself in this busy time with you doing all of this, a mom, a dentist, a mother, a wife, all the things, all the hats that you wear? How do you create time for yourself?
I know. So, and mine is not very new from what most of you all shared, but I'll tell you a tip. So it is definitely blocking my, me time on the schedule. And it could be for anything from going to the spa, or, really just going on a long drive or a long walk, whatever I'm in the mood of. But yeah, putting that on the calendar, uh, and typically just a couple of weeks ahead, so that it's blocked. But here's my tip: the problem is it's so easy for it to get encroached. Nomita, can you help out? Or and very valid, good, good options are there. But here's what. So I'll look at my calendar, and if it coincides with my me time, I'll just look them in the eye with a very straight face and say, oh, I'm sorry, but I have an appointment that time. I'm not saying it's an appointment with me, but it just stops me from fumbling and giving an answer. It's like, oh, I have an appointment. I'm sorry. Let's find another time that works for both. And that's helped me a lot.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much, Nomita. I think that we've got an idea of who you are and what your mission is for this summit, and I'm looking forward to the journey with you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you taking this time. You're a busy woman, but you're one of my role models, so I appreciate you doing this. And we will be seeing your interview right after mine. So folks, and Duffy coming up next. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.